Okay, so this share is going to be about names. People think that a name means nothing. It's very, very important, names. And we see in the Gemara, this is one of the examples, many examples, how important every detail of our name is. So I'm just going to, before we get into names, we're going to learn a little bit about this parsha is about the Meraglim, the spies. The spies that Moshe sent to Eretz Yisrael to check out, and they wanted for everyone else had to stay in the desert for 40 years, right? Okay, so now, before we get into the names of the spies, let's go into, we're going to read one detail of what the spies did. I wanted to just realize who we're talking about. They carried from Israel till the place that the Jews were in the desert, which was hundreds of miles, a massive package. Okay? So I'm going to say it outside. I'm going to read this. You can see inside. The page starts over here in English. This part. It says that 8 people carried a massive grapevine. Take the page. You see 4 after 4. This is the English over here. It says inside. Now, how do we know how big the grapevine is? Rabbi Yehuda Abba Chalafta says like this: a person can carry memsa. How do we know that? Because we know from the stones in Israel that the Jews carried, each person carried 1 stone, which means each person can carry 40 sa. 40 sa is the size that a mitzvah has to be, which is around a foot and a half, and 4 feet. A person can carry that size of, let's say, wheat or whatever he's carrying, right? Now it says in the Talmud that 2 people carrying something together can carry 3 times the amount that 1 person carry by himself. That's how good it is when 2 people are doing something together. They can carry much more. So now think about it: 8 people, right? Each person can carry 40 sa, which is the size of a mikvah, right? So 3 times that for each. 8 times 3, right? So that means it's if a mikvah has to be 4 feet by a foot and a half, right? So each person carried 3 mikvahs times 8. That thing was massive, right? Now they carried this massive grapevine, right, which is also wet. I'm sure it's like water, so that it's heavy, right? All the way from Israel till the desert, right? Now, someone asked me the question: how could we compare carrying the stones? The stones that we bring a proof for is a very short amount, and here we bring the grapevine for miles and miles. Doesn't explain in the Talmud, but we know they carried. This was the Tana says over here. The rabbi of the Talmud says they carried a massive grapevine, which is, let's say, 30-40 feet by 40 feet. It's massive vine, and they had sticks. They carried it on sticks, 4 sticks. Each one carried one of the sticks on one edge. It carried it very, very far. Okay, so let's move on in the story. So it says in the Gemara. Let's go to 4. The 3 lines from the top. Ve'ela Shmoisam. These are their names. The line, from 4, you go here. On top of the page says V'lei be'ini amakim. You have it? Okay. So it says Ve'ela Shmoisam. It says in the beginning of our parsha, Ve'ela Shmoisam. These are their names. Lamate Reuven, Shamua ben Zakor. Right. So that's the first name it says. Now Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Yitzchak says, Davar zeh mesuras b'yadeinu. Mesuras b'yadeinu. This thing is a tradition in our hands. Me'aviseinu, from our parents. Miraglim, the spies, al shem ma'aseim nikru. According to their actions, they were called. The line start. The page says v'loi. On top, v'lo b'inei hamakom. You see, so you have it.
It's right in the middle of her.
So the anu le'ala b'yadeinu ela echad. For us, we only have in our hand 1. Sisur ben Michal. We only have an explanation for 1 name. Sisur ben Michal. Sisur, what does Sisur mean? Sasar. Sisur shesasar ma'asav shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why is his name Sisur? Because he destroyed the actions of Hashem. Michal, why is it called Michal? Sha'asa soini mach. He made his enemy, which means whatever you can say. Hashem, small. That's so. Why does it say Sisur? Because he destroyed the actions of Hashem. Why does it say Michal? Because he made Hashem short, small. Amar Rabbi Yechanan, Af Anu Nemar. We also say, Rabbi Yechanan says, Nachbi ben Vavsi. We'll explain why does it say Nachbi ben Vavsi. Nachbi, what does Nachbi mean? Shehechbi dvar shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He hid the words of Hashem. Vavsi, why is it called Vavsi? Shepisa. He walked over Al Midas of Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He walked over the midot, the emotions of Hashem. Okay. Exactly. Right. So what is it? So what are we saying over here? We say, why is he called Sisur, which means destroyed? Because he destroys the actions of Hashem. Why is he called Michal? Because Moch, he made Hashem small. And then Rabbi Yechanan says, why is he called Nachti? Because he hid the words of Hashem. Why is he called Vavsi? Because he walked over the emotions of Hashem. Now the obvious question is, where did this guy destroy the words of Hashem? Where did this guy make Hashem small? What did the Meraglim do? What did he destroy? Right? Where did he hide the words of Hashem? What did he walk over the emotions of Hashem? What is it? What is it saying? What do these words mean? We don't know what it means, right? Another question, okay? It says, also be Adeinu Ela Echad. We only have one. Come on, you seriously can't use your brain? Go through the names and come to an explanation. What each name means? Why don't we explain? Right? So now there's many explanations trying to figure this out. But the most, easiest and understandable explanation is what the Rabbi says in the Kudei Sichos. And you see, when you learn the Sikha, you'll understand every single word here is exact, right? And you'll see how every word of the Talmud is exactly, tailored to every single Jew, but every word is meaningful. Okay, so let's go through this. Okay, it says, "Le also be Yadenu Ela Echad." We only have one. We only have one name to explain. What does that mean? It says, "Lo Medish Ikar Ela Hamaisa." The main thing, the important thing is that the medrash, the learning, the drash, this part of the Torah is called drush. The medrash should come to action. Shouldn't stay in medrash. It should come to action, right? So let also be Yadenu in our hands, which must mean our hands. Let also be Yadenu for us to the name which can give us a lesson. Let also be Yadenu Ela Echad. We only have one of the 12 names. Only one of them is a lesson for us. Let also be Yadenu. So therefore, Rabbi Yitzchak is not going to say the other 12 names, because the other 12 names is not a lesson for us. Only one of them is a lesson for us. I still didn't explain what this means to destroy the actions of Hashem, right? But we know now what it means, right? Le also be Yadenu Ela Echad. For us, we only can learn from one name. Now Rabbi Yechanan, we see further, he's not arguing with Rabbi Yitzchak. He just says Af Anu Nemar. If he would be arguing, he would say I have two. He's not arguing. He says we also say Af Anu Nemar. You have it in English. So he's not arguing, he's continuing, which means, very interesting point. He's saying, you're right. The lessons our fathers learned, Mesoidas Biyadenu, the tradition of the 12 names, we only can learn a lesson from one. But we can make up a new lesson from one of them. Af Anu Nemar, even though it's not the same as our parents, but we can learn from that Af Anu Nemar. We can learn from that one. Right? Correct? Okay. So now, let's look at what does it mean, Sasar Maisa Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? When it comes to action of mitzvahs, all of us are equal. We can't say one person does a mitzvah different. If it's a mitzvah to eat matzah, everyone eats the same matzah, right? So when we say, when can you not be like your parents, not like the sages, when it comes to loving God, fearing God, emotions, actions, everyone's the same, right? So when it comes to Maisa, Sasar Maisa Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when it came to Sisur ben Michal, Halacha, very good. When it comes to Maisa, we're all equal. So also the one thing we could be the same as our parents, Maisa, action. Okay, so then now let's figure out what does it mean that he destroyed the Maisa of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What's the Maisa of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? This world is Ma'aseh Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why did Hashem make this world? He made this world in order to make this world a dwelling place for Hashem. A dira b'tachayinu, a house where he can dwell. That's why he made it. Right? Now, if he didn't make, did he make it? Did God make the world and Mashiach was there? No. He made it half. We need to do the other half. Right? When we are not doing that half, we're sort of destroying, making pointless his first half. When you're doing a half a job, it's not a job, right? So when Hashem did half the job, he wants us to do the rest of the job. It's not the job, right? So it says in the Talmud that if somebody does not merit that the Beis Hamikdash, the temple, is not built in his days, it's as if it was destroyed in his days, because it wasn't built. It means it was destroyed, right? So when you don't fulfill the purpose of the Ma'aseh HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what is it? It's like destroying. That is the mistake of the spies. What was their mistake? Why did they want to stay in the desert? Because they wanted to sit and learn Torah all day. They didn't want to work in the field. A Jew naturally should always want to learn Torah all day. That's what should be the natural. That should be the natural instinct, the drive, and thirst of a Jew. Now Hashem has different plans. Hashem tells you, sorry, you got to work. Sorry, you have to have kids. Sorry, you have to help other people in the street. Of course, in the best situation when Mashiach comes, we are learning all day. But in this, now Hashem says, no, I need you to do something. The spies are like, no, we want to sit in the desert. In the desert, the Jews, they didn't need to go to the cleaners. They walked into the clouds, and the clouds cleaned their clothes. They wanted to eat, they walked outside, there was mud falling from the sky, right? They needed to drink, there was a rock with water coming out of it. They could just learn all day. There was no poor people. There was nothing to do besides learn. They had the best teacher, Moshe, right? So the Americans, they didn't want to go. They didn't want to go to Israel where they have to work hard and have each one had a plot of land. They have to work on it, and they want to stay in the midbar. And that's what it says. This was the Surah's mistake, and this is what we have to learn. He destroyed the Ma'aseh of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He didn't want to do the action. He destroyed it, and that's what it means. Ben Michal. Ben, it means child. It also can mean an outcome. So Ben Michal, what does that mean? It means the outcome of Mach. What do you say? I'm making Hashem short. What does that mean? That means Hashem, if Hashem says something, he has a plan. Come on. It's going to happen. So how could it be that by you deciding that you're not interested, it could stop? Hashem can do whatever he wants. How is it possible? That's the answer. The fact that you could destroy the Ma'aseh of Hashem, it's because Hashem made himself small. He sort of backed off. He wants you to have a part. So he did half. He's like, I want you to do the other half. I want you to be part of this. So that's this guy's problem. It's the Sur Ben Michal. He wants to destroy Hashem. We have to learn from him. Now we come to Rabbi Yochanan, and Ami's going to like this. Okay? So Rabbi Yochanan says, yeah, I know you're right. Only thing we can compare to our fathers is Maisa, action. But you can't just ignore loving Hashem, fearing Hashem, learning. Yes, we're not the same. It's not the same limud. It's not the same learning. It's not the same. But we could also make our own limud. We can have a little bit of it, right? And that's what it says. Rabbi Yochanan says, what's vice Nachbi ben Vavsi? Nachbi, he hid the words of Hashem. What are the words of Hashem? The words of Hashem is Yehi Or, Yehi Rakia, Yotze Or, right? The words of Hashem is what creates the world every second. What means the words of Hashem means you meant to see in everything you do. You do a mitzvah, you should see the tefillin is godliness. They want to teach for himself, exactly, right? In other words, it means he didn't want to teach, he wants to do. Why do we need to teach, right? You don't want to have the revelation of speech, of doing, of godliness in the world, of learning, right? So yes, we're not the same as our parents, but we have to try, right? Nachti means we have to, everything we do, we have to have, the main thing is the doing, but we have to have in mind the mitzvah, the meaning, right? When you know the Kabbalistic meaning of why you're putting on tefillin, why you're putting on a mezuzah, why you're being nice to your friend, why you're holding in your madness, every single thing, you know the meaning, like we just learned about holding yourself for your madness, we learned in the Tanya, right? Every single thing has a meaning, but when you know the meaning, it's with passion, it's with energy, right? So yes, Hashem made the world, he wants you to make it a dwelling place, he wants you to build a house. But if you want to see Hashem in the house, you want the house to be light. For example, you can build a beautiful house, but if there's no lights in the house, Hashem could be in the house, but you won't see it. The love for Hashem is like turning on the light. seeing Hashem in the house that we made for him, right? So if you do a mitzvah, yeah, Hashem is in the mitzvah. God is in that tefillin, but you don't see it. If you want to see it, you have to learn the meaning. You have to learn the Torah about the revealed part of why you put on tefillin, right? You have to put on tefillin. What does it say in the parchments? In each parchment, it says every single. There's 4 parchments. Each one has different verses, talks about different things, right? So you have to know. But not only that's the revealed part, but the hidden part of what you're drawing down the godliness when you put on the tefillin, right? So that's what Rabbi Shlomie says. Nachtu ben vavsi. We have to learn not to hide the words of Hashem. And then that's what it says. Vavsi, what's Vavsi? He walked over the midas of Hashem. What does that mean? It means he didn't want to feel the midah. What's the midah? Midah means emotion, right? He didn't want to feel the emotions for Hashem. So that's what it means. Ben, like I said, Ben means a revelation. So Nachbi, so he hid the words of Hashem. Why did he hide the words? Because he didn't have the emotion, right? So those are the 2 names we have that we have in this parsha, and we learn what not to do, what not to be like, not to destroy the words of Hashem, and just let Hashem abuse, so to speak, Hashem's kindness to us. Let us have a part. Not to hide the words of Hashem and see Hashem revealed in the world. And how do we do that? Through loving Hashem, through learning Chassidus and connecting to Hashem. Now, very interestingly, okay, we see there's a very interesting story with a Chassid. Before I get to that story, let's go back into the Gemara and see how this works word for word, right? What does it say? This is given down from our parents in our hands, which means even if you're going to say, what does it matter, my love of Hashem compared to the love of my grandfather, to my great-grandfather, compared to the love of the Tanaim of the Gemara is nothing. My understanding of the Talmud compared to the Tanaim is nothing. The Rebbe, right? When he was 13 years old, he knew word for word the whole time. But I don't even know one page like that, right? So what am I going to gain by trying to learn, by trying to love Hashem? I'm nothing compared to this, right? Like I said last week about Hillel. Hillel hidden his madness, right? Can you hide your madness like Hillel? If guy drives you crazy and before Shabbos with all these questions, you'll tell him come tomorrow in the best situation, right? What's the point of even trying? So that's the point. Davar zem b'seres b'yadeinu, which means all in our actions is all the work of our parents. We're like a midget on top of a giant, which means the whole Jewish nation is one koma achashlema, is one being, is one thing, right? It means it's one. Every single Jew takes from the soul of Adam, the first person. Every Jew takes from his soul. So let's say one generation is the head, one generation is the heart, and we're the foot, we're the heel. But we have in the heel, there's the brain. What do you say? Moshe Rabbeinu, right? But Moshe Rabbeinu is the head, right? So the point is, so davar zem b'seres b'yadeinu, which means that in our actions we have the power and the love and the knowledge and everything that our grandparents and our great-great-great-great-grandparents had for God. They're in our actions. Okay? So now, talking about the word that heel, okay, there's a very interesting story of a very big chassid called Baruch Mordechai. He was also a big rabbi in Babrais, he was sitting in Russia. And when he became a chassid, a follower of the Alter Rebbe, his brother-in-law, which was actually a hater of Chassidus, he didn't know what it was yet those days, he cut his relationships with him, he didn't talk to him. Finally, he was also a big rabbi, he came to visit him. So he came to his synagogue, he was going to give a big speech with many people to listen. What happened was, he comes in, and he says, okay, I'm very tired, I need a rest. So he put him on the side room. In that side room, all the people that prayed at length, past the minyan, they prayed at length, they prayed in that room. So he goes in that room, and he sees a guy praying. He can't see his face, but he's praying with all his heart, and he's so touched. And he's like, who's this person? And he's like, oh, he's the wagon driver from Vilna. So this guy's from Vilna. He was a rabbi from Vilna. He's like, oh, the wagon driver? He said he's the heel of a prayer, of a davener. He's the heel. He's a nothing. He's the heel. He was in those days, the people that didn't like Chassidus, they looked down at people that weren't intelligent and smart. They're very square, right? So they didn't look at. He's like, he's gonna pray at length. He should go do his job. Why is he praying? So he laughed at him. So his brother-in-law didn't want to mess with him. He knew he's sensitive. He didn't say anything. Then after he's giving his class, and he's involved, he's giving his deep class in the Talmud, everyone's listening, and then when he finishes, this guy comes, he shows up. Oh, the heel of the davener, the heel. Like the heel, right? So his brother-in-law couldn't handle it anymore. He was a chassid, this guy is a hater, he couldn't handle it. So he tells him, what are you talking about? It's a explicit Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. You read it every single week. This week is chapter 3, right? It says Akav. The first letters of the chapter 3 is Akavia ben Mahalal Omer. Histaka b'shleisha dvarim. Look in 3 things, and he won't do it any other. So first he says when his brother-in-law said it's a explicit Mishnah. He's like thinking through the Mishnayos. He's thinking, this very smart guy. He's like, I don't see what you're talking about. So he had to say it. It says in the Mishnah, Akavia ben Mahalalo. Akavia means Akev, which means heel. Akev. That's what his name means. It means heel. Ben Mahalalo. Mahalalo means praise his Hashem. Right? So if you read it, the meaning of the name, like we're learning about the meaning of the names. When the meaning of the name is the heel of a davener, somebody praying, the heel, which means the lowest level of davening, brings you to keeping you away from an avera, and it goes through 3 things. Now, there's a story in the story. The previous Rebbe said this story, and in his generation, 6 generations after the Alter Rebbe, there were people that still hated Hasidus. They didn't like it. They just wanted to know the halacha. They didn't want anything deep. They didn't want any emotions. They were like the people that said only mindset, only action. No emotions, no loving, no caring. No, yeah. So now, the Frierdiker Rebbe said the story, the previous Rebbe. And all these people, they're laughing. What are you saying? What's the connection with his name and a meaning of a heel? His name is a name. Why are you making a learning? They didn't learn this Gemara that knows that names are, they're laughing at it. So the Rebbe, he wasn't the Rebbe yet. He wrote a whole letter in the newspaper about it because so many people were laughing. He's like, he brought all these sources. What do you mean? All over the Talmud, it says a name of a person shows you what he is. Of course, if it's a bad name, he has the free choice to change it. Both ways, exactly. And also, not only that, it says in some places that your name makes who you are, right? And not only that, it says in the Gemara, in the Talmud, why is his name Mahalalo? Because he praised Hashem. And it says in the Zohar, why is his name Akev? Akavia? Because he is the heel. Right? So Akavia ben Mahalalo means the heel of a davener. The heel of a davener, the heel of somebody praying. Right? Brings you to the highest levels. So it's the same thing we're learning over here. Yeah. Yes, we only have a little bit of love for Hashem, a little bit of fear, right? But when we do the action, we continue the actions of Hashem. We complete it. He did half the job. We finish his job. We complete it for him. We make this world a dwelling place for Hashem, a place that Hashem wants to be. Hashem wants to live. Hashem wants to be with us. If we have a little bit of our emotions, a little bit of feeling, of learning, of caring, which that is the next level, which is only the heel, but you're praying with all your heart. You don't even know all the meaning of all the words, but whatever you know, you say it with all your heart. The akev, the heel of the prayer, that brings you to the highest levels. And then the next line of the Gemara tells us, 6, the Yalu Benegev, the Yavai ad Chevron. They came to Chevron. So it asks in the Gemara, it should have said they all came. Why does it say Vayavai? One person came. So it says Amar Rava. Rava says Melame. It teaches us Shepirish Kalev. Kalev left. Matzas Meraglim. He left them. Vahalach nishtatech akiva yavis. He went to the graves of his forefathers, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and the mothers. And he prayed, save me from Amar Lem. He told them, always, my parents, Bikshu alei rachmim, ask mercy. Sheinatza matzas miraglim. I should be saved from the plan of the spies, which means, in other words, that this is the source, the first source in Torah almost, that it's very important to pray by the graveside of a tzaddik. The graveside of a tzaddik is the holiest place in the world, and even holier in a certain sense than Israel. Because Israel today, Mashiach is not here yet. So when something is very, very high and it falls down, it goes even lower. Right? So of course it's very holy, but it's very hidden. But where tzaddik lives, where tzaddik resides, where he is, there's no exile. There's Mashiach. There's a story with the Mendel Haradaker. He's the teacher of the Alter Rebbe, one of the teachers. He was in Tveria, and people were blowing the shofar. Mashiach is here. So someone came running to Mashiach. Someone was saying Mashiach is here. So he opened his window, took his face outside, smelled. He's like, no, Mashiach. The question is, why do you have to go out open his window? He could have smelled it inside his room, because in his room Mashiach was there already. By a tzaddik, Mashiach is there. So when you go to a tzaddik in his room, like you go to the Ohel in that room, Mashiach is there already. It's like Israel, but when Mashiach comes. Now the Rebbe's Ohel and all the tzaddikim, they're all connected to Israel, because it says that when Mashiach comes, God is making a tunnel from every cave or every graveside of every tzaddik all the way to Israel. So in other words, right, if you make, the law is that if something is connected with Israel, it's part of Israel. So that means every single graveside of every single tzaddik is connected to Israel. Even if it's not maybe literally connected now because the hole isn't there, but it's somewhat connected. It's the same thing. Where tzaddik is, it's Israel. Because it's connected to Israel. There's a tunnel to Israel. So it's part of Israel. But it's not just Israel. It's Israel Mashiach comes. It's Israel when there's no exile. When we could see godliness revealed. And that is the lesson of today's parsha. That we have to connect the tzaddik. Like Ami said, we have to connect to Moshe Rabbeinu. Not like the spies. The spies, what happened was with the spies, when you're a spy, you sometimes forget who you're spying for. Right? Because when you're a spy, you're lying. Right? So when you start lying, you forget who you're saying you have to say the truth to. The Rebbe says this, that the spies got into this lying mode that they forgot when to say the truth. They go back to they're lying for 40 days in Israel. They go back to the Jews in the desert and they continue lying. They forgot that they have to stop lying and saying the truth. Right? How do you connect? How do you make sure you don't lie? You connect to Moshe. Moshe is emes. Moshe is called the truth, right? The tzaddik is the truth. When you connect to the tzaddik, that's when you're connected to the truth, right? So the point of the parsha is that you have to go and the lesson from this Gemara, you have to connect to the tzaddik. You have to have emotions. You can't just be a dead Jew davening, blah, blah, blah. You have to mean it. You have to learn about it, right? Feel it, and then do it. You have to come down to action. Make this world a place that Hashem could come and feel comfortable. Everyone have a good day.